So hi everyone, thanks again for joining us this morning or wherever you are, whatever time it is. Thanks for joining us today. And thank you, David, for speaking. David spoke at one of our events recently as well, and it was a great presentation. So you guys are in great hands here. So thanks to David for coming back. So David is a multilingual Toronto-based educator empowering international students to launch meaningful careers and thrive in their new home countries. He's the director of Orbit 5, a global community of support where students get together to navigate the challenges that come with COVID-19 through weekly webinars, events, and one-on-one coaching. He's an advocate for impactful education approaches that take the learning beyond the classroom and help students think critically about their life and career choices, specialties, career coaching, experiential learning, post-secondary students, and educational tourism. Thanks again for speaking today, David, and good luck with your presentation.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you for the introduction. I'm very happy to be here today. So today, we're going to talk about 5 steps that you can take in order to make your transition and adaptation process smooth into life in Canada, if Canada is the country that you are considering to move down the road in the near or in the far future. I wanted to start by saying that if you are thinking about this country as your new home, you are making an incredible decision. This country is amazing. I've moved here 15 years ago. It's been a ride and a journey, of course, that I will be sharing with you folks in a minute, but it's an incredible country. It's diverse, it's welcoming, it's full of opportunity. Now, for example, with the COVID situation, people got financial aid from the government. The health system is great. So there's a lot of benefits of moving into this country. Before we get started, I would like to ask you if you can type in the chat, where are you joining us from? When are you planning on moving to Canada? If you already have a city in mind, etc. I would like to have an idea of where you folks are joining us from. And at any time, feel free to ask me any questions that you have. So we're gonna have a conversation for half an hour where I will be sharing, for the most part, my journey and my experiences in 5 different areas, so that you can take that and incorporate it into your own plans when you start your process of moving here. So if anybody would like to share where you are joining us from, let us know. In the meantime, what I'll do here as well, I'm going to share with you folks my LinkedIn URL so that you can feel free to connect with me via LinkedIn. Send me a connection request. I will be more than happy to join you, welcome you in our community as well. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna get started. So 5 steps that you must take in order to adapt smoothly into life in Canada. When I moved here in the year 2006, things were very different than they are today. First of all, we were not in the middle of a pandemic. Second of all, although the market was competitive, it was not the same as it is here. The market is extremely competitive right now. So when I came here, I didn't have like a clear plan to follow, right? Right now, everybody who's planning to come here, everybody should have a clear plan of action on how they want to progress here in this country. Hey, Jeffrey, how's it going? Tell us where you're from. Tell us where you're joining us from, and when are you intending to come to Canada? Thank you very much for saying hello. So things were very different. So I came here with 3 things: $700 in my pocket, 1 connection, 1 person that I knew from back home in Colombia, and an open mind. Those were the 3 things that I brought, but I didn't have any action plan. I didn't do any research. I didn't build a network beforehand. And because of that, I think that my path was a little bit slower than if I had taken action before moving to this country. So I think for everyone who is watching this presentation, it's very important that you start thinking about how proactively from your home country you can start preparing yourself to have a great integration into the country. So we're going to be talking about 5 different steps that you have to take. We're going to talk about research and the importance of it. We're going to talk about network. We're going to talk about communication. We're going to talk about unlearning biases and prejudices. And we're going to talk about reflection. So as I mentioned before, I moved to Canada in the year 2006. Time really has flown by. It's going to be 15 years in October, and I'm going to tell you that it was the best decision that I've ever made. I will always be Colombian at heart for sure, but I'm fortunate to have now a dual citizenship, both Canadian and Colombian. And when I go to my home country to see my family every year, it's great to go to where I'm from, to hang out with the people that I grew up with, to eat my food, to be, again, embracing my culture to the best of my capacity. But every time that I go there or I travel to another part of the world, when I come to Toronto, when I come back to Toronto and the plane lands at Pearson Airport here, I feel that I'm home. So now Colombia became a place for me to visit, but this is the place that I consider my home. So Jeffrey, you're telling us that you're joining from London and you're considering coming over for a security job and settle. Awesome, great field, with a lot of potential and a lot of demand nowadays, like uh, in the 2020s. So that's awesome. Thank you very much, Jeffrey, for sharing that with us. So as I mentioned before, so when I came here, I didn't have a clear plan. I want you to start asking, what's your why? What is the reason that is making you considering Canada as the destination where you want to upgrade yourself, either academically or to move for the progression of your own life and your career path as well? What is your why? My why was simply that I needed a change in my life. I was going through a dark time of depression, of not being able to live my authentic life back home. So I felt that my life was going through a drain. And back in the day, it was pretty easy to immigrate to Canada. Now things are a bit more challenging, but back in the day it was pretty easy. So I had a friend here, right? And I remember, if you remember the MSN Messenger back in the day, one day I was chatting with her, and I would name the MSN Messenger, and I chatted with her, and she saw me, and we started talking, and she told me how I was doing, and I'm like, you know what, like I'm not feeling well. I don't know what to do with my life. And she's like, why don't you come to Canada? Like, why don't you come here? You already have the language. You have already lived abroad. Because when I was sitting at the university back home, I had a chance to travel to the UK to improve my English. So you already know what it is to transition into life in a new country. So why don't you come here, right? And then that stuck in my mind, and I started doing the research, and I ended up pursuing my immigration process from back home 15 years ago, and I came here in October of 2006. But that's it. I only knew that I wanted to go somewhere else. I moved to Toronto. What I love about Toronto is that it's a city that is very diverse. I think after Dubai is the second most multicultural city in the world. And it was like love at first sight with Toronto, the very first day when I arrived. Yeah. You know that feeling when you feel that you found your place in the world. And coincidentally, I was speaking with some friends about this over the weekend, because we were sharing about stories about when we came to Toronto and how did we feel and how long did it take us to feel like we were at home. And for me, because I was really looking for that change in my life, it was love at first sight. So it was immediate, the connection that I felt with the city. Many things that I like about this place. I love the diversity, as I mentioned before. I love that I would jump into a subway and I would hear 5 different languages. I love that I was surrounded by cultures. I love that Toronto is kind of like a microcosmos of the world in one same city, right? All colors, all shapes, all backgrounds, all cultures, all sorts of food. I love also, I'm a foodie as well. So I love that I had the opportunity to try different foods of the world here in the same city. So I'm just going to check the chat here and see where you guys are joining us from. So Chinedu, you're joining us from Nigeria, and you are looking to start a career as a telecommunication engineer and settle here. Kartik, you're joining from India. You're looking for a career in consulting or corporate strategy to settle. And then Augustine, you are joining us from the UK. And Omo 2K, you're joining us from Nigeria as well as telecommunication engineer. We have a great turnout today. Awesome. You folks are sharing the the um, the paths that you wanna follow. And what I want to share with you is something that will make you think critically about what you need to start doing now, so you don't come unprepared like I came here, like I did 15 years ago. Although I have experienced a very successful journey in terms of personal achievements and professional achievements, I could have expedited that process if I had started my research and my work from back home. So we're going to talk about the first step that you must take if you want to transition smoothly into life in Canada. That step is research. So, for example, you want to research not only about the professions that you want to dive into or the industry that you want to break into, you want to also do some research about the place where you are moving. So if you're moving to Toronto, find out what communities are out here. Find out what ethnic populations are out here as well. Where do they hang out? And what is common about their cultures, and what are similarities between their cultures of yours. Find out commonalities that you see in Canadian culture or and your own culture as well, right? So as important as it is to be fluent in the language that is spoken here, either is for example, here in Ontario or in Toronto, English, or if you move to Quebec, French, right? Right. As important as it is to be fluent in the language, is also very important to be culturally fluent, right? Because that will give you better chances to connect with people who are here already, not only immigrants, newcomers, international students, but also locals as well. It's very important if you do your best to build connections with locals before you come here. Why? Because the locals are the people who know the culture, who can introduce you to the things that locals do here. So you can have a better introduction into Canadian society as well. And they are the people with connections that potentially can refer you to other places where you can do where you can perform your professional activities. So research is very important. So research about the culture, about the people who live here, and the most important sites of the city that you choose to move in. And then you're gonna do some research regarding the fields that you want to break into. So I see here a lot of telecommunication engineering, consulting, etc. Right? So you want to start researching what opportunities are available in those areas, what skills are needed for you to have if you want to be more competitive, right? So that you come here with that clear mindset about the skills that you do have that can help you promote yourself effectively, but also about skills that probably you do not have yet and that you could start developing and at least getting a strong foundation on before you come to Canada, so that you show an employer that you proactively have taken the wheel behind your learning and dive into those skills. So with minimal training in their companies, you will be able to excel and perform to the best of your capacity. Okay, so researching is very important. Don't do what I did. What I did is like, okay, I just need a change in my life. Perfect. I got my papers. I got everything. So I'm going to go to Canada, and then I'll see what happens when I get there. So when I came here, as I told you, I knew only one person, and that person told me, David, what do you want to do? What is it? What are you looking for? What are you looking to do? And I told her, you know what? I'm down to do anything. And she's like, okay. So here's the story. She told me, I have a roommate. My roommate used to work for a decoration company. It's owned by a Greek guy. So I can ask him if he can take you there, or if he can talk to the owner of the decoration store and see if there's an opportunity for you to work there. And I'm like, are you down? And I'm like, 100%. I just needed to get a start, I like starting point to get somewhere. So that same day, when the roommate arrived home, my friend asked him, and he said, "Let's go now. Let's go to the decoration store and see if the guy is there, and we'll see." And I'm okay, sure, let's do it. So we went there, and we talked to the guy, and the guy told him, I'm not looking for anyone right now, but because you came with this guy who used to work here, and he did incredible work for me. I'm going to give you a chance, and you can start working tomorrow. And do you want to take it? I'm like, absolutely, 100%. That was 4 days after I came to this country. 4 days. So it was incredible, because although it was an entry-level position, it was labor work. I was working at a warehouse, lifting carpets, cleaning, doing that stuff. It was an incredible opportunity for me first, because it humbled me, right? Because it humbled me, and because it helped me understand what the Canadian customer think like. What do they like? What do they act like? To understand really what true service means. Because I was not used to that kind of service back home, right? Like, there, people can get away with whatever they want. Here, everyone is providing service to the clients, to the guests, and to the people whom they work with. So it was a really good starting point for me, because I used that opportunity as a platform from there to start thinking about what were the things that I wanted, right? So I defined after a month, 2 months, that that's not what I wanted to do with my life, but it was a great opportunity, because it was the first opportunity that I got, and I understood that it happened thanks to the power of connections, thanks to the network. And I'm telling you, 15 years living here, probably I've had 10 different opportunities. And I'm going to tell you, 90% of those opportunities, I found them through referrals and through my network. Only 2 jobs that I had were applications that I sent online. And that ties in with my second point, the second step that you need to take in order to adapt smoothly into life in Canada. Build a network. Here's the thing, what happens with immigrants, newcomers, international students. All of you, the folks who have shared your backgrounds and what you want to do, I can tell that you have incredible education and a lot of experience. But what you do not have is a network. Nobody knows you here, right? So it's very important for you to proactively start building your network. And what is the best place for you to do that? LinkedIn. You come, again, with a wealth of experience and education, but connections are the people who are going to help you create better opportunities. So, as I told you before, that first job that I had, the warehouse job, through a connection. My second job, so I started getting a little bit better. It was at a call center doing reservations for resorts in the Caribbean, which was awesome because everybody here speaks more than one language, for sure, right? So it was awesome because I was able to use that, my first language, which is Spanish, as an advantage to land an opportunity. It was like a customer service job at a call center, making reservations for resorts in the Caribbean and in Latin America. How I got it? Through a connection as well, through a person that I had met at the warehouse who, like 2 weeks after, he got another job at that call center, and he called me, hey, there's an opportunity here. Would you like to come check it out? And I'm like, absolutely, through a connection, right? Through a network. So please, if you are not active on LinkedIn, start getting active on it. So what you can do is start, as part of your research, like we were doing before, start researching companies that are in the fields that you want to break into. So telecommunication engineering, consulting, somebody else is here. Yeah, telecommunication engineer and consulting, right? So start researching companies, right, that are here in Canada doing those things. And then in those companies, right, start looking for people who work on those companies and start building a relationship with them little by little, right? It is something that we do here in North America a lot, right? Without asking them for something from the get-go, because the mistake that I see that a lot of international students and newcomers do is that they ask for stuff before they build their relationship. So, hey, say for example, hey, I'm in Nigeria, I'm moving to Canada. This is my resume, give it to your network. And the person is like, well, but I don't know anything about you, right? How am I supposed to forward your resume to someone if I have no idea of who you are and what you bring to a table. Two things that you could do. If you see that that person is very active on the LinkedIn platform and they post content, right? You can engage with their content and leave thoughtful comments that add value to what they are saying, right? By doing that periodically, the author is going to start remembering your name. Oh, okay, so who is Augustine? Who is Kartik? Who is Chinedu, right? Maybe check your profile and see what you bring to the table, right? And so behind the curtains, you're building a relationship. You're helping that person because with your comment, you are promoting their post. So you're pushing the algorithm to promote their post, right? So then after a few interactions, you can send them a connection request. You can follow the people first and then you can send a connection request and tell them, hey, your post of today really resonated because of this, and that. I would love to officially be part of your network. Boom, you send a connection request. They're going to accept it because they already know who you are. They have familiarized with your name, and you have helped them, as I mentioned before, to promote their own content, right? So when you see that they have accepted your connection request, right, then you ask them for a chat, right? So try to find something either that is a commonality between you and that person, right? Or if they don't have much, if you don't find much information about it, find something that impacts you or impresses you about their profile, their career trajectory and stuff. And simply ask them, hey, David, I've seen your content, and as you know, I've been engaging with it because what you're saying, it really resonates. And I am moving to Canada, and I'm just looking to get some information about the field. And I would like to ask you a few questions about your journey. At your best convenience, I would love to ask you for 20 minutes of your time. Don't worry if you can't, right? That person most likely is going to say yes, because again, they have familiarized with you, and they already, you already part of their network. So when that happens, perfect, because that's how you start expanding your network from the country where you are in right now. So you ask them questions about the challenges that they faced when they started their career, what skills they needed to develop in order to be more competitive. What is the favorite thing about their job? What skills do you think that someone who is new to the country should start working on? And you start getting that information to work on your own stuff, right? And also, you always want to ask, who else do you recommend that I connect with, right? So that person gives you another name, and then you are expanding your network. So that's one option when the person has posts a lot of content. If they don't, send a connection request with the ask. Hey, what impacts me most about your profile is this. I would love to ask you to my network, ask you a few questions about your journey. Boom, right? Sometimes people are gonna say no, or maybe they don't even say no. They're just gonna not reply to your message. So that's rejection. Don't let that rejection define you, right? People are busy. It's not that they don't want to talk to you. Maybe sometimes people don't want to talk to other people, right? So don't aim to talk to just one or two people. Aim to talk to at least 10 or 15 or 20 people in each of the companies that you're researching, the companies that you see that you envision yourself working at because you like the organizational culture, because you like the products that they have, they offer, etc. Okay, and then that's how you start building your network. When you come to Canada, another great way to start building your network is by volunteering. Volunteer work is greatly appreciated here, and it helps you build Canadian experience, right? So it's greatly appreciated here and can start open a lot of doors for you because you start making connections within those jobs that can serve you as platforms for something else, okay? So research and network. Third step that you must take in order to be successful in the path that you walk in this country, enhancing your communication abilities. At this point, I can see that all of you have excellent written communication abilities. I don't know about the oral communication because we cannot talk right now, yeah? But enhancing your communication abilities. It doesn't matter that you have an accent. As you can tell, I have an accent as well, right? The important thing is that you make sure that your message is clearly understood. right? And there are different things that you can do in order to enhance these communication skills. First, connecting with locals, right? So you make friendships or be with people who don't speak your language your language of origin or your native language, right? So that you can get used to uh, speaking in English or French, whatever the case may be. It's very important, right? Communication is one of the top skills that everybody needs to master in 2021 to be competitive. That includes written communication, oral communication, and also listening skills, right? So that's something very important that you can have. Watch, if you are still working on your skills in the local language, watch YouTube tutorials, find out global conversation clubs, right? Use the Duolingo application. I'm a language person. I speak 3 languages. I'm right now in the process of learning 3 more, and I use Duolingo, that app, on a daily basis. And they have forums where you can practice the language that you are learning with other people in the world. They open like rooms where you can join and you can practice, right? So there are different ways to do it. But communication is one of the steps that you definitely want to take if you want to adapt smoothly into life here. Unlearning. The next step that you need to take is to unlearn. And by this, what I mean, sure, you have to learn about the culture, the jobs, the work environment, but very important, you need to unlearn. And by what that I mean, you need to unlearn the prejudice that you grew up with. No matter where we come from, we grow up with biases, with prejudice. We think that these people in this culture are this. We think that people from this culture are that. Get rid of those thoughts. You need to have a very open mind if you want to be able to adapt smoothly into Canadian society. Because again, this is a microcosmos of the world in one same place. You're gonna see people from all corners in the world interacting, working together, coexisting in harmony, right? That these people are here are that because that's what we have heard in the news. No, I'm from Colombia, and we Colombians, we had a very bad reputation for 30 years because of the narcotic dealers and the drug war that we live in our country for 30 years. And people stigmatized that for that, right? When people actually go to Colombia, they forget about those things that society told them. They actually go there, right? They see that it's a paradise on earth, and they don't even want to come back. So same thing here. Open your mind and interact with people who look substantially different from you, because you will see when you give the other person a chance, you will see how similar they are with you. People from other religious backgrounds, right? People with other sexual orientations, people with other economic statuses. It doesn't matter. Open your mind to connect with people. The best thing that I have experienced is making friends and having coworkers with different backgrounds on all walks of life. It has enriched my life to an extent that you have no idea, and it has helped me appreciate the world's diversity in a better capacity. So unlearn the biases. Think about that. Ties in with my last point, but the next step. Reflect on your own story, reflect on your own skills, the things that make you special, and the best elements that you want to bring from your culture into life here. But also reflect on your bias and on your prejudice, right? What are some of those thoughts that you have in your mind that might prevent you from interacting actively and effectively and coherently with people in your new home country? Okay, so it's very important. Research, thorough research of the place where you're going, of the companies that you see yourself working, or of the field that you want to break into. Network with people working in those companies, with people who are already here, with people maybe from your home countries who are already here, so that you learn from their journey and have a smoother transition into life here. Communication. Aim to talk to people who don't speak your native language. By that, I don't mean that you have to neglect the people from your own culture. Not at all, because those people can help you a lot, to help a lot of doors for you, actually. But challenge yourself to talk to people in the language that you will be working, because you will be working in English or French. You will be writing your resume in English or French, and you will be going to do interviews in English or French. So make sure that you enhance your communication abilities, that you feel confident about them to convey your message and the value that you add to the organization that you want to work for. And learn. Forget about the biases. Come here with an open mind, and life is going to be so much easier. And reflect on who you are and the best elements that you want to bring from your own culture and your home country that can help you make a smooth transition here, because you can transfer those skills and those elements into whatever geographical context that you are in. So those are the 5 steps that I wanted to share with you today. I don't know if Alex, if you're here, if we have time, maybe if anybody has any question or a thought or a comment that they have before we wrap up with this intimate talk that we had today about transitioning into life in Canada. If there are no questions, I'm going to actually today, I have facilitated a webinar with a guest speaker. He's from the United States. He's first generation Asian American. And his story is fascinating because he comes from an immigrant family, low income, different difficulties, and he was able to land an internship at Google, first person in his university to land an internship at Google, and he was awarded top voice of LinkedIn last year. So I'm going to share the link here for anyone who would like to join us today. It's going to happen today at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will be more than happy to welcome you to join us. We would love to welcome you and hear from that experience as well. We're going to be talking about how you can overcome your personal insecurities. Sometimes as immigrants, as newcomers, and as international students, we come here to these countries and we feel inferior. We feel insecure about our background, about our education, about our experience. Don't feel that way. Because if you were able to thrive in countries like India, Nigeria, Colombia, Vietnam, China, whose environments are very unstable, and you were able to develop skill and experience there, imagine the great things that you can do in this context where things are a bit more stable. So we're going to be talking about how you can overcome personal insecurities and turn them into your strongest weapons to pursue the jobs and career paths that you want to pursue. All right, very informative session. Thank you, Kartik. I appreciate that. Jeffrey, the presentation was spot on. Thank you very much. All right, anybody has any questions for me? Any questions, any thoughts, any comments, anything that you'd like to discuss, anything that you are worried about regarding your transition to life in this country? I will be more than happy to answer any other questions. While we wait for Alex to come and wrap up the session, another thing that I can tell you again, things have changed a lot within the next 15 years, right? I think right now COVID is very interesting because we hear there's no jobs, there's no opportunities, but I think on the contrary, there's a lot of opportunities. You know why? Because when COVID hit in late 2019, early 2020, 1 million new problems emerged, right? Which means that there are 1 million new possibilities for you to step in and find out how to solve those problems. So think about that as well. As part of your why you want to move to Canada. What are the problems that you would like to solve in your new home country? Find out when you have information interviews or when you start connecting with people on LinkedIn, building your network, asking them about the problems that their departments are facing in cybersecurity and engineering, so that you start thinking about solutions that you could potentially implement and promote to help them solve those issues and help the companies, thrive and blossom. Okay, thank you so much. Hey, Alex.
David, I just want to jump back on. That was some really great tips
Yeah.
you just gave there. And like I said,
Thank you
everyone,
so much.
you're in great hands here with David, and that was a great presentation, lots of great information. So
Thank you
yeah,
so
if
much.
anyone does have any questions here, I'm just going to take a quick look in chat. Feel free to throw any questions in here. I know we're just a few minutes over time, but we can maybe take 1 or 2 questions, right? If there is anything.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to take some questions.
Awesome. So I
Thank
guess
you
while we
also,
just
Alex,
wait,
for putting this event together. I think the job that Toronto Jobs.ca is doing is incredible. Thank you so much.
well, thank you. I'll share that with the team. But yeah, so while we just wait for any possible questions, I'm not sure if you had mentioned, is there any way that, the best way to get in contact with you or anything like that?
Yes,
LinkedIn or
LinkedIn.
email?
I did share my LinkedIn profile here, but maybe some folks were not able to see it. So I'm
Okay.
going to
Yeah, maybe throw it in the chat here.
paste
Yeah.
my LinkedIn URL here in the
Awesome.
chat. Feel free to connect with me, and when you also always when you send a connection request, add a personalized note to the person, right? So if you tell me that you were part of this event with Toronto Jobs, then I will be able to know who you are, and we can start a conversation there.
For sure. Awesome. Well, yeah, so I'm not seeing any questions here, unfortunately, but I just want to say thanks again for speaking at another event. It's always great to have you. And again, thank you for this great presentation. It was really awesome.
Thank you, Alex, so much for the invitation, for taking me into consideration. All the best, everyone who is planning on making Canada your new home. You will be making your best decision because this is truly the best country in the entire world. So you will not regret it. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Bye.
again, David.
Ciao.
Bye.